Hi everyone, it's Marie, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about Jarvis Island. It is a very tiny little uninhabited 4.5 square kilometer coral island. It's located in the South Pacific Ocean, about halfway between Hawaii and the Cook Islands. So it's a fart in the ocean, basically. It has no ports, no harbors, has swift currents all around, which are a hazard to boating. The center of the island is a dried lagoon with deep guano deposits. It's a low-lying coral island and it's surrounded by a reef. It has no fresh water, or no known fresh water, and scant rainfall. So this creates very bleak, flat landscape. It has no plants larger than shrubs. So there's no evidence that there was ever any self-sustaining human population on the island. And it's basically used by shorebirds, seabirds, and marine wildlife as a nesting, roosting, and foraging habitat. It was discovered in 1821, and it was in 1858. It was annexed by the United States, claimed and annexed by the United States. Oh yes, and then they started mining the guano. And some of you may already know guano is basically bird poop. And so this went on for about 20 years, and then it stopped. And then some people from New Zealand tried to continue the harvesting or the mining of the guano, which is used by growers as a fertilizer. Apparently, it's very good fertilizer. I don't know. Anyways, they left a guy on the island all by himself, and he committed suicide there in 1883, apparently from gin-fueled despair. Then the United Kingdom claimed the island in 1889, and in 1913 there was a shipwreck there, a boat by the name of Amaranth, floundered on the shores of the island. Then in 1935 to 1942, the United States reclaimed the island and tried to put some colonists on there. I think they put 4 guys on there, starting out in a large cluster of tents. And then they used the leftover wood from the Amaranth, the shipwreck of the Amaranth, and they built some dwellings. But then they were evacuated during the war. There was even a crude aircraft landing area, but there's no airplane that is known to ever have landed there. And everything was shelled and burned after 1942. And what you see there are leftover tram tracks from the mining days. And in the very background is piles and piles of guano that was mined but never removed. Then in 1958, there's a big storm, and it swept all the buildings that were there away. There was very little left except that one tiny little white building. It's kind of like a lighthouse or something. Anyways, now, since 1974, the island is administered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service as part of the Pacific Remote Island National Wildlife Refuge Complex. So basically there's nobody there anymore except fish and birds, although there used to be a feral cat population, which were descendants of cats brought over by the guano miners. And they wrought disruption on the island's wildlife and vegetation. That was since the 1930s. So between 1960 and 1990, it could take them 30 years to get rid of all the cats. So now it's fish and birds and the odd scientist and educator that goes to the island. So this is Jarvis Island. So now out of this, I'm going to figure out something to do, something to use to make soap. And we'll see what we come up with. So thanks for... My microphone cut me off. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.